Heartbreak Hotel. True Tales of Breakup Experiences. Written by Leroy Vincent. Narrated by Dan Carroll. Breakup 1. I was in the college and had been dating this guy for 4 years. I found out he was spending $800 to $1,000 a month calling 900 numbers. He and I were living together and I was finishing up college. He treated me well, but I knew he had an addiction to it, and I knew I had to break it off. So I got a job after college, 6.5 hours away, for I knew I wouldn't stay with him. I knew I had to get away, or he wouldn't let me go, and I'd be too stupid. So I broke it off and took the job. It was hard. We talked every day, but I found someone else and got married to the other guy. Breakup 2. Many years back, a guy that I had gone with for close to a year started to drift away from me. I guess he knew that I wanted to get married. When Christmas came, I thought I was going to get a ring. I got a nice pair of earrings, but no ring. He went to Colorado to ski between Christmas and New Year. I even drove him to LaGuardia to get his plane. When he came back, he said he had met someone while on vacation. He also got a job offer in Jacksonville, and I thought he would take me with him. But it ended. I was distraught. I couldn't sleep or eat for weeks. I would start crying at work or when I was driving. After about a month, I met another guy who had been waiting for me to move on from this guy. He is the person I married. Breakup 3. It happened some 36 years ago. When I started my career as a bank clerk in my 20s, there was a beautiful woman some 5 years elder than me, divorced, in the office. Naturally, the circumstances led us to a romantic relationship. One of the reasons for her divorce was her friendly relationships with her male friends. They, being Muslims, were very intolerant to the friendly relations between opposite sexes. I, though non-Muslim, too was not satisfied with her over-enthusiastic style of friendship with male colleagues. Some stories of her previous relationships with former managers reached my ears also. But I made my point clear to her that I was not concerned about her previous relationships, but was concerned only with the relationship since we fell in love and decided to get married. Since her community was too conservative, a marriage with a non-Muslim while staying with her parents and family was impossible, and she got transferred to a distant place on her request to get our marriage done smoothly. My then manager was one of her old friends. He used to show his displeasure at times for my intimacy with this woman, so I had made it clear to her that she should keep away from him, and I would not tolerate any attempt to restore their relationship. One day, a common friend of myself and the manager showed me a letter addressed to the manager received 2 days ago. Instantly, I recognized the handwriting, and he let me read 2 or 3 sentences which were enough to prove the intimacy of the writer. I did not hesitate a second to break my relationship with her. I had difficulty for some time, but time healed it, and later on I married another girl, and it is almost 33 years since our marriage, and leading a happy family life. Breakup 4. I disagreed with my best friend, who was like a sister to me about something, and we had what I thought was a civilized debate. But she saw our disagreeing as a different way, and she ended our friendship. It hurt badly that she would toss away so many years with so little thought. I was able to move on by telling myself that she has done this to numerous people in the past, and that her behavior was more about her than me. Breakup 5. My breakup was a divorce. My ex-husband told me that we were not getting along and we would not be able to work out, and he wanted to get divorced. He put all the blame on me, thereby everyone thinks that I was at fault. He kicked me and my son out of our house. A few months after we split up, I found out that my husband was having an affair with my cousin. He broke up with me to be with her and move her into my house. Being able to pass it was the hardest thing I have had to do. It took me over a year to even want to move on. It took me that long to even want to think about being with someone else. After a year, though, I finally was able to move on. It has been hard. It took therapy and a lot of crying and talking to friends. I was finally able to get past it and move on, and now I am in an amazing relationship with an amazing man, and I am engaged. Breakup 6. Everyone who survives a hard breakup is a true hero. Every single one of you. You are champions. You see the past and you learn from it. You do not mourn it, you celebrate it. You believe that the experience will bring you even greater relationships and life experiences later in life. That's the true meaning of going your separate ways. Making your life greater than it was turning out to be. Bringing you to a new level. It's been just over 2 weeks now. I cried myself to sleep for the first 7 to 10 days afterward. But I am over it now. I am doing a lot better. We still talk, but after I have finished getting all my furniture from her apartment, I think we will need to break contact as much as possible. Although the small city, similar interests, etc., to work on ourselves and give each other the space we need to truly get to know new people. First things first. We met when we were 18. Lovey-dovey, my first girlfriend, lost my virginity. Despite her having slept with a good number of guys, I am the only one to this day to have truly satisfied her and made her feel comfortable in bed. I can be proud of that, I guess, having not slept with anyone but her. She had severe family problems. I and my family helped her. She got on her own feet. We moved in together when we were 20. Perhaps a mistake. We always had a bad feeling about it. At least she did. It's been 1 year since I earlier told her that I thought our relationship was developing into friendship. I was having serious health problems which ground my sex drive down to 0. But we wanted to believe this could be fixed. People around us broke up long-term relationships. We grinned and said, "Funny how everyone is breaking up. This will never happen to us." My health improved. Sex resumed but was infrequent, perhaps 1 to 2 times a month. Sometimes less, which has to be pretty lousy for people at this age. We didn't know what was wrong, but acted as if nothing was. In hindsight, we were probably both dishonest with each other and ourselves about this, even though in general, we were very honest about most things. A few weeks ago, she began to grow more distant. We talked about trying to live in separate apartments without sacrificing the relationship. Never really went through with it. At a party a few weeks ago, she suddenly disappeared, leaving only a text saying, "Going to meet my friend." I have never been so angry in my life. I knew it was over. The day after the party, we broke up. She didn't come home that night. Funny that it ended with her breaking up with me. But I really did agree with everything she said. We should have broken up a long time ago. Perhaps I was more of a dreamer. I didn't see the forest for the trees. But the story does not end there. Still living in the same apartment, I got unbelievably curious about who she was really meeting. I knew it couldn't be the friend she said it was. It was just too unnatural. So I did something I truly regret. I looked at her computer. I found that she had visited this guy's Facebook profile for every single day for the past 2 to 3 months. Before she left the party, she had been eyeing him in a sexual context. Years before, she had promised me never to break my trust. There were times where I was extremely jealous of guys she had been with before, for whatever reason. Had she broken that trust? I tried talking to get something out of her. After a few attempts, I had gotten enough information so it wouldn't seem very far-fetched to connect the dots. I know looking at her private messages and history was wrong, very wrong. But what she did was also very wrong. We are both guilty. It got way uglier than it had to be. While in the process of finally moving out, so we wouldn't go crazy spying on each other, we had a few good, honest talks. I finally got the truth from her, and I can guarantee that this was the truth. She did not sleep with him until 6 days after we broke up, but she did stay at his place, read room. She did lie to me. She kept secrets, and for that I am hurt. I never did anything to hurt her, but she hurt me. I began to feel like she was choosing him over me, as if he was better than me. But that is bullshit. My feelings pressed me down, and I am over that now. The guy is about 10 years older, and alcoholism that seemed fun. Not husband material. She deserves better, so much better, but she does not deserve me. Because I am going to exit this chapter of my life a stronger man, more confident than ever, unafraid to take on new challenges and push my personal goals to the limit like I am the champion. Like the champion we are. Everything else will come as a bonus along the way. This may seem cold, but don't get me wrong, it is hard. I do feel lonely often. I'm not exactly the most outgoing person, although I try my very best. I'm not the kind of guy to have one-night stands, so my sex life is like a beast that lays dormant for a worthy opponent. This is what I believe. This is what keeps me from crying when the past comes falling down on me. I do not curl up and cry. I fight back and beat it back to oblivion. I am better than the past. My mindset belongs in the future where even better experiences and partners on this crazy ride will come along. Broke up with a girlfriend of over 4 years. Although hard, future is looking brighter than ever. You are all freaking champions. Never forget that. Breakup 7. My husband and I were together since April 2013. Last year, October 1st, 2015, I miscarried my girl due to hospital intervention with my boy. 2 babies, a boy that was 4.5 months along and a girl that was 10 weeks along, both in the same pregnancy, superfetation. And this year, September 1st, 2016, I gave birth to, and held her until she passed away, my second daughter, who was 20 weeks, 2 days along, due to late diagnosis of incompetent cervix. Then 2 weeks later, after this recent loss, my husband said he wants a divorce. So now we're separated, still living together, and he's preventing me from being able to mourn my losses by being narcissistic and emotionally abusive. So within 11 months, I lost 3 babies and my marriage. I have finally realized how unhappy I was in the relationship and no longer feel sad that the relationship ended and just decided to focus on me. Breakup 8. I fell in love at 15. We were together for 7 years. We got married and had a daughter together. I thought it was time to grow up and become more responsible for our daughter. He didn't want to grow up. He never helped take care of our daughter. Therefore, I broke up with him. I spent some time single and focused on getting a college degree. I completed my degree and found someone new and got remarried. That's how I moved on. Breakup 9. 10 years ago, when I was studying in the 12th grade when I was a girl, her name was Rhea. Ever since I first saw him when I was crushing her. We were studying with each other and became friends. For a few months, we have become really good friends. Then we took their exam preparation, and results were to come. After a while, the results came in, and I failed, and she was passed from first division. Then I departed the little village 5 years later, and we have become very close to each other and reunited. We began to meet each other in the park, gave each other a gift, loved each other, and began to talk on the telephone throughout the night. Before assuming his father were not married, but he convinced him to marry and could not do because without the consent of the parents, I had to leave him and her heart was broken. Breakup 10. When I was a college sophomore, I met a fellow student from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was introduced to him by another student. We became friendly and started dating. As time went on, our friendship continued and grew more serious. He was a member of the ROTC, and I later learned that he took another girl to the ROTC ball. He had told me that he wouldn't attend the ball since I was unable to attend. However, his best friend told me that indeed he did go with someone else. I was hurt and angry at the same time because of his being untruthful with me. I suppose he did not want to hurt my feelings, but I felt betrayed and wanted nothing more to do with him. We broke up, and I graduated and moved to New Jersey, and he later joined the Army and was stationed in Korea. I heard nothing further from him until one day a letter arrived from him stating that he realized he had made a mistake and wanted to be back together with me. Since I had not initiated contact, I decided to give it another try. He came to me in Niagara Falls, which was my home. I was visiting my family at the time. As time went on, I saw that his promises were not kept. Once he was scheduled to visit my family and me in Niagara Falls, and he did not arrive at the bus station as scheduled. Not until the next day did he let me know he was unable to come. He had been scheduled to speak at a Christian youth meeting at my church, and I had to explain that he would not be able to keep his engagement. That incident caused me to realize that it was time to break off with him completely, and I did just that. I took him to the bus station for his return back home, kissed him goodbye, and thought to myself, "You will never kiss those lips again." That proclamation made over 40 years ago has been kept to this day. I have since married a loving man and have 2 loving adult children and 4 beautiful grandchildren. I have moved on. Breakup 11. My last breakup I went through, I broke things off. At first, I didn't move on very quickly, and I started to drink more than normal, eating crappy fast food and chocolate like it was my vice. But then, after a few months, I started working out again, getting out more, and not just to the bar. I started doing my hobbies again and reading books. My friends and I started to go on hikes, and I took extra shifts at work. It was a lot of work, but with time and me starting to be my positive self again, I was able to move on. I really think time and finding yourself can help you move on from anything. Breakup 12. The worst breakup I have ever had was with my best friend. I'm still struggling with it badly. It was about 6 weeks ago. We were living together for almost 3 years. Before we lived together, we had the perfect friendship, as people often called it. We hung out every day. We talked all day. We were there for each other. Well, before we moved in together, and we didn't make the best choices. He is a guy, and I am a girl. He is gay. We were interested in each other, but he was scared to be with a girl. So we decided to just have fun. We had sex 4 times, a stupid mistake because I got attached to him in different ways. He ended our friendship and kicked me out because he said I treated him like he was my boyfriend. Even though I never meant to treat him like that, I'm still torn up about this every day because I have tried talking to him and he wants nothing to do with me. Breakup 13. I divorced my husband of 10 years several years ago. We met when we were young and married and changed throughout our 20s, that we would no longer have the same interests. I was interested in going out and meeting people, and he just wanted to sit at home and watch TV. He also didn't appreciate my sense of humor, and I need someone in my life who has the same sense of humor that I do. I had thought about it for a long time, but was worried about supporting myself on a one-income household, as well as what would happen with our dog. When we figured out that we couldn't deal with each other anymore, we split up. I was able to move on fairly easily. He was so rude to me for the last few years that it was nice to be able to live my life with the people who I wanted. We had split custody of our dog. I had him during the week, and he had him on the weekends until he passed away last fall. I was able to support myself financially with really no problems. I started dating someone very shortly after my ex and I broke up, and we are still dating. When Andy was young, her father had committed suicide. Her mother was barely competent, and Andy had to parent herself at a young age. She was dangerously close to being outright narcissistic, but I chalked it up to her overcompensating for lost attention and love. When she met her first boyfriend, I knew our friendship was ending. Eerily, she began to cut and dye her hair to resemble him and wore his clothes. She was becoming him, sharing and losing identity in him, and simultaneously displaying her recovery of male attention in full force. It was insurance preventing another important man from leaving her. Her transformation signaled to me that our friendship was also mimicry. Looking back, I understand that the closeness she shared with me was a disguise for survival. She did everything in her power to attract me as the best friend. I was a substitute for the solid foundation she lacked and craved. We played out the parent-teen rebellion since she couldn't stay with her mother. I wish I had had the maturity in high school to step back from the situation, to let go in healthy doses, and to realize that she wasn't abandoning me. She couldn't help herself. The relationships she fabricated in high school were mad attempts at family creation. Today, she's living far away with her boyfriend. I hope she's happy and that the distance removes her from anything familiar, giving her the opportunity to start from scratch and to give up the meme. Breakup 15. I'm 17 years old, and my boyfriend and I have been together for 4 years. And I had a friend named Stephanie, and we knew each other because we are in the same swimming team. One day, she wanted to come with me and Luke to Panera Bread, and Luke said he was fine with it. While we were eating, I needed to use the bathroom, and on my way back from the bathroom, I saw this lady coming towards me. She said, "Aw, isn't that too cute?" I said, "That's my boyfriend, that witch." So I pulled out my phone and took a picture of them, and when we dropped her off at home, we were going to go to Luke's house to watch a movie. So I asked him, "Do you love me?" He said, "Yes, I would never cheat on you, so fast forward 4 months. I had a swim meet, and he showed up, and when I was changing into my uniform, I caught them making out. I was like, that slut, she was like my best friend. So after the swim meet, he takes me out to the gate, and we sit on a bench, and he puts his hand on my lap and says, "I think we should see other people." I was like, "What the freak do you mean?" So then I was like, "You want to see other people?" And he was like, "You're so cool with it." And then was like, "Yeah, it's all good." And the next day, I went to the wig shop and got myself a red-ass afro, and went out and got the longest, sharpest fake acrylic nails, and got my makeup done, and put on this red-ass lipstick, and put these high-ass heels on, went to his house. So when he opened the door, and I said, "Here is your new witch," and he said, "What do you mean?" I replied that you said you wanted to see new people, so you thought your ass was leaving. And the next day went up to Stephanie, and I punched that witch so hard she flew into a pool. And I was like, "So you were kissing all up on my man?" Then she was like, "Yeah, what are you going to do about it?" I said, "Wait till tonight and you'll see." So I went home and grabbed all Luke's stuff, threw it in Stephanie's yard, grabbed some gasoline, lit that crap the freak up, grabbed a rock, threw it at her window, and a piece of paper, and wrote, "Here's all that witch's shit." So then I got in the car, took a picture, sent it to Luke, and said, "I'm the baddest witch alive, and don't you ever underestimate me." Breakup 16. Really, that moment was very painful, and broke up my heart when I cheated on a boyfriend. He was very good when we were together for more than 3 years, but after I got to know about his original cheating character and about his originality of his nature, really broke up from my bottom of the heart. Going through a breakup can be very difficult, emotional, and stressful. Often, we are filled with all these confusing feelings and wonder if what we are feeling is even normal. We tend to do crazy things that are out of the norm for us. For a while, we might even lose ourselves to emotion. We fear that we will be lonely forever. We fear that we will have nobody to talk to. We fear that we will not be able to make it in this big scary world without them. We fear that when we are sick, there will be nobody there to comfort us. We will jump into bed and hide under the covers feeling lonely, sad, depressed, and feeling sorry for ourselves. So I myself felt and came back to the normal stage. I really forgot him. You will be much stronger than you were before, and you would have learned a lot about what you need and want. This is so true, so long as you let it happen, even if you think it won't. Breakup 17. Initially, to focus on everything is hard, and everything causes either déjà vu or causes nostalgia. I was the one to call it off and to get over the poisonous charade that was going. Feelings were outweighed by money and materialistic things, and cheating was the only option for my ex to come up with, and to repeat the whole thing again and again. It was like I lived in a different dimension. Food had lost its taste, places were eating me up, only sad and heartbroken songs were my allies, but one day I looked at myself in the mirror and realized that for all what it's worth, I am worth a lot more, and that one day I chose to move on, kicking it on the garbage that I had kept dragging along for years. Breakup 18. I was in a relationship for 2.5 years. When I met Brandon, he was a touring photographer, so he would be on the road a lot traveling with musicians. When he was done, he came back to the town where he moved, and we met and pretty much moved in with me right away. We had so much fun, did everything together. I did a lot more. I worked, cleaned, laundry, cooked, paid bills, while Brandon sat around and interned and worked on his website. But I was dumb and just believed that we were in love and we're going to spend our whole lives together. Brandon had a messed up childhood. He was given up for adoption, met his birth mother once, and then she ended up committing suicide. He feels like it's his fault because he had said some bad things to her, so he gets super depressed around that date. So 2 years in, Brandon gets a real job offer, but it's across the country. Of course, he tells me he will resent me if he doesn't go. And I said, I'll resent you if you do go, and this doesn't work out. I was planning on moving out there after he got more situated. So then, it's spring 2016. He is in his depressive state to his mother. I try to be there for him, went out to see him, tried talking to him, but he just started avoiding me. Then a month before the move, he broke up with me. He said that he will always be selfish and will not change, and I don't deserve to be treated this way. So I said, okay, bye. I was heartbroken because how can someone treat you this way when you did everything you could for them to be happy? I mean, I was about to give up my dog, my job, everything else to move across the country. After about a week, I knew this breakup was for the best, and just stopped thinking about and tried to better myself and be happy. Spent a lot of time by myself, actually started going out with old friends, and so on. Of course, a couple months later, he and his adoptive mother started calling me and begging for me to be back, and turns out Brandon turned into an alcoholic and a cokehead. Boy, was I glad to be out of that situation. He begged for me back, quit his job, and tried to move back here. I stood my ground and did not budge on getting back together. Why would I go back to being used and treated like nothing? I don't know where he is now, but I feel like I am better off. Breakup 19. The breakup was not difficult. She had cheated on me the weekend prior. During this breakup, I simply asked for my things back. Upon hearing what had happened, I was very sad and very upset. But luckily, it was very simple for me because the guy she had relationships with outside of me was one that was completely ignorant of my existence, and he complied very quickly and communicated easily when I asked questions. For me, this was the easiest and only breakup I have ever had. Breakup 20. I proposed 2 months ago to my girlfriend of 2 years, and she said yes. She had known I was looking at rings for several months, knew when I had the ring, and even knew the date because we had talked about any concerns she might have. 3 days later, she came over to my apartment and gave me the ring back, saying that she wasn't ready to be engaged. I was extremely hurt, but was ready to figure out how we were going to go forward together. Several days later, she came over so we could talk, and instead of trying to figure things out, she said, I need to be single, and left it at that. It was extremely hard at first because she gave no explanation as to why she felt this way. That was 2 months ago, and we've exchanged emails and talked several times. As much as it's her fault for how things played out, I've been able to move on a bit by accepting what I did to get us to that point. We are still talking a bit, but I feel like a decision on whether we move on completely or try to figure things out together will come soon. Breakup 21. I was with my boyfriend at the time for 6 months. When I was visiting my sister, she informed me that my stepsister thought she was pregnant and mentioned my boyfriend's name. I was devastated. I confronted my stepsister over the phone, and she admitted it. I broke down, had an anxiety attack. I couldn't breathe. I literally had a pain in my heart like it broke. My boyfriend and I broke it off. I have never been able to trust anybody the same way that I had before this happened. I ended up trying to move on, but it ended up with a lot of 2-week relationships just to the end, and start a new one a few days later. Breakup 22. We were together about 2 years, and in the end, it was my choice to end the relationship as we were moving to different universities after college. I went through a stage of about 6 months where we both tried to be friends because we were best friends before we started seeing each other. We figured we could go back to that. It hurt, to begin with, but it felt like the right choice, and I honestly moved on very quickly. For him, though, it started off okay for a month or two, but things got worse because I guess it finally sunk in for him. He tried to win me back with gifts and promising to change his entire life plan. I felt like a horrible person because we'd made plans together, but I knew that a long-distance relationship wouldn't work out. He begged, got jealous when I spent time with other guys, and started alternating between showering me with compliments to berating and insulting me. For a while, I was close to giving in and giving him another chance because I felt lonely and guilty, and I did still care for him, even if I didn't love him anymore. It was horrible to see him in so much pain, and I felt singularly responsible for that, and he was wearing me down. One night, about 5.5 months on from the breakup, I was at home with a platonic male friend. My ex turned up without prior warning. He threatened me and my friend, then threatened suicide if I moved on and found someone else so quick. It was then that I realized moving on would be impossible if we still tried to remain friends, so soon after the breakup, while feelings were still raw. Breakup 23. My partner would constantly distance himself from me. He would act really in love with me, or he would act as if I did not matter. He texted me how we would make it through, and he loved me very much. When he got off work, he said we needed to talk. He came over and ended it. I was devastated because I had given him 4 years of my life and had truly worked hard to make him stay and be happy with me. I found out he immediately started seeing other girls after our breakup, and that made the pain even worse for me. I was close to my semester finals and did not do very well on them. I would lay in bed and not want to do anything for weeks and weeks. What helped me overcome it was simply time. With time, I realized that my worth is defined by who I am and not by what I was worth to him. Once I started to believe in myself and come out of the house more, I started to feel much better. I would no longer have my self-illusions that he would change for me because I knew that it was not possible. Breakup 24. Longtime girlfriend had specific issues with our relationship. I brought up issues on a few occasions. We tried to work on them, but reoccurring issues kept coming up. I requested we take a break to see if we would do better if we separated. Ended up ending the relationship. I kept myself busy with work to keep mind off of things until there was enough time to distance myself from the relationship. This has been Heartbreak Hotel, True Tales of Breakup Experiences, written by Leroy Vincent, narrated by Dan Carroll. Copyright 2017 by Leroy Vincent. Production copyright 2017 by Revival Waves of Glory Books and Publishing.